So today's topic, we're going to talk about the type of stamps that Stampin' Up! Actually sells. We have wood, we have what Stampin' Up! Calls clear, and then we have photopolymer. And I'm just going to show you the difference. As you can see, we have a lovely set of red rubber stamps right here, and the photopolymer, and then of course the wood. So I don't own many wood stamps, but I'll just go over with you the benefits of them. First of all, one of the great benefits of having a wood stamp is that if you have it positioned correctly, you don't need any acrylic blocks. You have the stamp mounted on that block forever. It has an amazing amount of cushion there. You can see the foam underneath there. This is a well-used and very old stamp. I've had it for years. This is the only wood stamp I actually have in my possession. Oftentimes when you have wood stamps, and if you prefer that, awesome, you probably have most likely a Stamp-A-Majig. The second type of stamp there is what Stampin' Up! Calls clear. I call cling, because the red rubber with the gray underlay, the little squish mat there, and then you just stick it to an acrylic block. Now, I treat my stamps with a two-way glue on the back so that they stick easily to the acrylic block and they don't fall off. I'm going to do another segment in this video series showing you exactly how I do it. This is one of my brand new photopolymer stamp sets. This is how they come. There is a thin plastic sheet, and then they're very sticky, and sometimes I use this particular image that's on the back, and I look around to see where I want that on my project. So how this works is that you place that right on your block and it's ready to go. If it's a long skinny thing, what you want to do is just put that on a clean surface somewhere, and then you can pick it up from the block. It's probably the best way to do it. One little trick that I have heard, and it doesn't bother me if my stamps get stained, but because that just shows a high quality photopolymer stamp. But what I have been told is that if you ink with a very light pink ink at the beginning, and you sort of you stamp off a couple of times, the big bold colors like real red won't stain your stamp as much. That being said, sometimes when it's brand new, you have to season this stamp, and sometimes just wiping your hands along will remove the film from the manufacturer. On a side note, you can use Versamark first and make the stamp sticky, and then go into your ink. It's not going to hurt it at all to use Versamark and then an ink. It just seasons that stamp so that it will start to accept the ink. Sometimes when it comes out of the ovens, let's say, there's a slight coating on it. But I've just showed you two ways of either rubbing your hand across it, or just seasoning it, getting it into your ink pad and stamping it 15 times off on some scrap paper before you take it to your project, or using your Versamark right off the bat and then stamp into your ink pad and then on your project. Using Stampin' Matte on some of these solid items is a great idea, because as you can see, there is no cushion on that stamp, but on this stamp it has a built-in cushion. And on your wood stamp, also has a built-in cushion, if you can see that. And there is no cushion here, so that sometimes if you're stamping on a flat surface, you might not get the best impression. You would take your project and put it on the stamping mat and then stamp, and you will get better coverage. And secondly, no matter what, when you're stamping, don't be quick. Stamp, ink up your ink, stamp, hold, especially with your photopolymer. You may want to press in the middle of that image and hold it for 5 seconds and then lift up. That gives a chance for that ink to transfer to the paper, and you will be a happy stamper at that point. Again, to review, we have photopolymer stamps, which probably for me are my favorite. The price point is lower, and you can do some super fun things. Like this particular stamp set has a solid image and then a layering image on top, so that, and you can't really do that with red rubber or wood very well without using a stamp positioner, but you can with this particular stamp, because you can see right over, and to place that second stamp or third stamp right over top of each other and make them look dimensional and make those images come to life. That is the benefit of having the photopolymer. And also, these photopolymers are bendable. So if you wanted to take that straight sentiment, all you have to do is bend it on your block, and you are able to come up with, say, a rounded shape instead of a shape that is straight. My second choice would be definitely the red rubber cling. I call them cling, but in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, they call them clear, which is slightly confusing. It's just because you need a clear block to use them. And then my least favorite is my wood stamps. The nice thing about the wood stamps, they do last longer. Photopolymer, it's just not made to last, 50 years like a wood stamp. Photopolymer, you do have to keep in a cool, dry place. You want to make sure that it's not exposed to direct sunlight. I think that's pretty much it. 3 types of stamps being sold at Stampin' Up! Right now: the wood, the clear, and the photopolymer. I want you to feel free to ask me any questions you may have. You can contact me via email or social media. I'm happy to earn your business, so please let me know how I can be of service. Thanks so much for watching.